Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today we are talking about how to make it easy to consume awesome information. As we continue to create posts and podcasts and videos and online programs and training resources at LearnDoBecome.com, we know it can start to feel overwhelming. Just behind the scenes, we're trying to organize all the things that we're creating. So on the user end, or the receiver end, we want to make sure you have a great experience. Today, I'm sharing 4 ways you can easily organize the information that you get here at LearnDoBecome or from other sources so that you can get all of the benefits without the drain. Now, on the show notes page, I am going to include some additional support materials, links about how I use Evernote, how I make time to read and organize my mind, information about our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, which has thousands and thousands and thousands of people in it. So as you're listening, I just want you to be able to enjoy the podcast and then go to LearnDoBecome.com/radio to be able to find all of our podcast episodes. And you can just click on this one, check out the show notes page, click to whatever you would like, okay? Now, the principles that I'm discussing today are what make it possible for me to read, listen to podcasts, watch videos, attend conferences, and learn as much as I can, and then use those things as fuel. But that wasn't always the case. As I moved into adulthood, so got married, finished college, Eric and I had our first baby, we moved to Northern California to start his first job, and I used to read maybe one book at a time, and I didn't even want to learn more because my brain didn't have anywhere to put the information. I remember I went to this class at our church, and they were teaching about family traditions and how to build those, and I remember thinking, I am so overwhelmed with everything I have to do right now. I don't even want more ideas. Just stop giving me ideas. It felt incredibly overwhelming. But I felt frustrated with myself. I was frustrated with other people for trying to give that information to me, and frustrated with my situation that seemed to lack the progress and momentum I was craving. This might be something that you've been thinking about lately. Are you currently living a life that has the progress and momentum that you've always wanted? Or maybe that you had at one time, and maybe you feel like the joy of life just isn't there anymore. So if you want to change that, then I'm excited that you're here today. Looking back, those were hard years. But once I learned how to organize my mind so that the information could just flow, I felt like I'd unclogged my mental vacuum. And then the momentum for which I'd been searching finally came. And it hasn't left. I have felt this huge surge of excitement and desire to learn, and the ability to constantly be reading and listening and learning and exploring. And it feels exciting to me, and I know what to do with it. So I'm hopeful that these ideas will help you today. So I have 4 that I'm going to be covering. Number 1, save links and downloads in a way that you'll be able to get back to them within 30 seconds if you want to do so. Now, sometimes you could just go to a specific channel or website and use their search function, and that's great. But if you want to make sure you can locate a specific piece of content or information, here are some things you could do. Let's say you're listening to an audiobook or a podcast episode. If there's something that you think, ooh, I love this, I want to go back to it, or I want to transcribe it, or I want to go learn more about it, you could screenshot where you are in the book or in the podcast, and then you could put that into Evernote or a notes app with the appropriate keywords. So I was listening to this awesome interview with Jim Collins the other day, and he was talking about what he does when people fly to see him in Colorado. They pay $60,000 for 2 half days with him. And he described what questions he asks them. I was fascinated. So I screenshotted the podcast. I put it into Evernote and put Jim Collins, Colorado businesses, questions that he asks. And I even put a little more information, some notes that I took. That way, when I want to refer back to it, I can just go into Evernote, type in some of those keywords, and it'll pop right up with the screenshot and the timestamp of where it was in that specific podcast. So good. And that was on the Tim Ferriss show, if you're interested in that. You could also make a list of favorite websites and bookmark them by category within your browser. I personally don't do a lot of browser favorites and categorizations, but I have seen some people who rock it. They do such a good job with that, and they love it because they always use the same device. They use the same browsers. They've got their bookmarks all beautifully organized. So that's another thing you could do. You could also create a collection of favorite links, all kept together in a searchable note and also labeled with keywords. Or you could gather screenshots around a specific topic into a labeled photo album on your phone. There's lots of ways to do this, but the main idea is you want to be able to say, oh, if 7 months from now, I remember this podcast episode, or I remember this book, or I remember this idea, and I want to go deeper and I want to be able to find the original source, you want to be able to type in keywords, and that's why I love Evernote so much, and go locate it right then. Having that system, it's going to help you so much because I watch people and they'll just screenshot, and then it just goes into their camera roll and they never pull it out again. And then they say, oh yeah, I remember I found this thing, or I saw this ad, and then they're scrolling through screenshots for like 10 minutes. You can save so much time and you'll feel more energetic knowing that you'll be able to find it. Now, specifically for LearnDoBecome, if you use Evernote or Google Drive or the Notes app on your phone, you could create a little folder called LearnDoBecome. And then you could store any of our worksheets, downloads, links, etc. in there. Again, using keywords so they're easy to locate using the search function. In our free Facebook group, for example, we have this 7-part video series, and we put all the videos together and we gave the page a password, and it's available on our site only for people in the Facebook group. But let's say you wanted to save that link and the password into your Notes app or Evernote. You could just go ahead and copy paste, put it in there. We've got a little image you could even include. You could write notes. You could jot information about your progress. And then that way it's always accessible to you. Now, you could just go to our Facebook group and you could just search it, and that's fine. If that's good enough for your brain, awesome. But the goal is for you to be able to locate information within 30 seconds. And if you're thinking, where is this free Facebook group? It's LearnDoBecome.com/FB family, standing for Facebook family. It's super fun. We have a huge group in there, over 10,000 right now. So excited. All right. So just reviewing, number 1 is just saving links and downloads in a way that you'll be able to get back to them within 30 seconds. Number 2, create routines for consuming certain types of media and keep a prioritized list of resources to fit those categories. I'll give some examples. So let's say you get the emails from LearnDoBecome that feature our podcast episodes and our video trainings. Now, instead of making those tasks or just saying, oh man, this is just another thing I need to do, and they're just piling up because I don't want you to feel that way, you could create a routine of daily podcast listening, and you could create a routine of daily video training consumption. Now, if you wanted to do this 3 times a week, or your timing was different, yeah, fine, however you want to do it. For me, I have generally a daily routine for both video and for podcasts. And obviously, I'm going to do them at different times. If I'm not sitting at a screen, then I'm going to be doing the podcast. Then, noted wherever you list your podcast listening routine, for example, you could jot down a specific episode or 2 you really wanted to listen to that week. Or you could just open your podcast app where you only have a handful of subscriptions that deserve your focus right now. In your video training routine, you could list any paid programs, YouTube videos, or topics you want to research during that time. For example, I have a list of favorite online yoga videos. So I can just open that note in Evernote and I can click on the video that I want. I have each video link labeled with a few keywords like, oh, this is yoga with Adrienne, and this one's 12 minutes, and she filmed it in Nicaragua, and it's super fun. That's actually true. It's one of my favorites. So that I'm good to go. So that way, when I want to do yoga, I just either can go to YouTube and explore, or if I want to go to a tried and true favorite, I just go to Evernote, and I've got them all listed there. I do the same thing with books. I have a prioritized list of the books I think will make the greatest impact in my life right now. And when I read each day, I draw from that list. And when I go to the library, then I have a whole list of ideas. And the reason I like this process, of having these routines and then these resources prioritized, is because then it doesn't matter how many books or podcasts or videos, etc. I hear about. I just process them into my resource library, and the best ones most often bubble to the top. As long as I know I have reading and listening and watching time baked into every week, I know I'll make progress on my learning goals. And that is how my life has transformed over the past 10 to 15 years. I rarely spend time just scrolling through social media. I'll do a few minutes a day. I rarely spend time just kind of hanging around or binge watching. Like I watch a show here and there, but I'm so excited to learn because I have these systems that are supporting me. And the way that we've known how to support our children, how to raise teenagers, how to build our marriage, how to get over anxiety and feelings of discouragement, how to build our company, how to help our team culture. And there's a lot I still have to learn, but as I'm doing it, this has come from learning. We're in a situation right now where we're completely debt-free. We're excited about our community. We're excited about our projects. Our family's doing well. And this progress didn't just happen. It was an investment. And we started out exactly like I'm explaining to you. Podcasts, books, videos, resources, learning how to make things happen. Okay, number 3, create a current project for any high priority multi-step tasks you want to get across the finish line. If you're in exploration mode, which is how I would most often categorize my learning activities, then the routines that I explained before are typically sufficient. But if you're in a course, like let's say you're part of our STEP program, Steps to Everyday Productivity, and you're building your Command Central, then you build my Command Central into one of your 7 to 8 monthly projects. And you work from a list of next actions to get them done. Now, if you're thinking, what's a Command Central? What's your current projects list? What are your next actions? David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, amazing. And I've taken a lot of the things I learned from him and put them into a system showing you exactly what it could look like, how it works with a family, how it works with the technology and things we use today, my planner and all that stuff, which is super fun. And we have a whole community. I will include links to describe more about the Command Central, the current projects list, and the next actions. But the main idea is that we want you to have a very, very simple list of current projects. Now, in this case where I'm talking about the course, that course could still be listed in your podcast and or video routine because there's audios and videos that are part of it, but you're not leaving the completion of the course to chance. If it's on your current projects list, it will actually get done. So I want to just identify the distinction here. When something is on my routines list, audio learning, video learning, reading, those are just things that I am doing as part of my ongoing development and because I love it. It's not because I have to get that specific book done or I need to get through these 10 videos by a certain date. It's just something I'm doing in an ongoing, happy way. But my current projects list is where I have 7 to 8 projects that I want to actually complete by the end of the month. So if you really want to complete a video course or you need to get 1 or 2 books read and done by the end of the month because you've got to return to the library or whatever it is, or because you have a project coming up, or because maybe I'm going to do a podcast on it, so I need to get it done early, whatever, then that could go on my current projects list. Now, I'll include more on that with a link at the bottom of the post on the show notes page. And I'll have an invitation to attend our free training, which is called How to Finally Stop Drowning in Piles. If you're new here, and if you can't wait, it's LearnDoBecome.com/step. That's our free class. Okay, let's move on to our final point for today. Rely on your someday list. This is number 4. Now, this can be a digital or a paper note, or a list that you keep inside a project management tool. But honestly, having an awesome someday list will bring an added level of excitement and momentum to your life. And the reason it's so powerful is because even if a book, podcast, video, course, etc., isn't right for you right now, or maybe isn't even right for you in the next several months, you have full confidence that you won't forget about it if it's listed on your someday list, which you can review monthly or quarterly, annually, or just whenever you have free space in your brain. That's one of the most powerful things I've learned how to do, is how to bring close to you the information that you want to get done soon, and that's short and simple and focused. And then all those things that you want to do someday, later on, not right now, you're learning how to distance them from you, create that space in your brain, but put them into a system you can trust. That's what the someday list is. So bringing it all together, the fact of the matter is that our brains can only process a certain amount of information each day. That's why it's so powerful when you simplify your wardrobe, or clear your desktop and counters, or reduce the number of email folders, or minimize the number of decisions you need to make at work, or teach your children to share in the family work. The full Steps to Everyday Productivity program that teaches you how to apply the whole framework to your life. It helps you say, here's what you focus on daily, weekly, or as needed. But even without the whole system, if you can create simple habits that open up brain space, your capacity to learn will increase exponentially. And with that increase in capacity, you'll find yourself waking up excited, ready to learn, do, and become. Okay, so here's your Learn, Do, Become challenge. Are there any books, videos, podcasts, courses, or resources you'd like to explore more deeply? Maybe you have a bunch of screenshots already, or a bunch of little lists or Post-its or something like that. I want you to take a few minutes to just write them down into digital or paper notes that are sorted by category type. So maybe make one note that's called like books I want to read, and one, these are podcasts I want to listen to, or one is videos I want to watch. And even if you just have one or two things on each list, now you have a place and you can add to it. And then make sure that you have routines to support your learning process. You don't want to make these on your task list. These aren't calendar specific for the most part, unless there's some really, really urgent need to watch one video on a certain day. But typically that's not the case with online learning. So as long as you have good routines in place, and then you've got this little resource library, which most of us can carry around on our phones now, you're going to feel amazing momentum. You're going to feel excited, and you're going to think, okay, all right, this life I've been dreaming about, it's not so far away. I want you to feel encouraged, because I remember all those years when I would literally look around and think, how are we ever going to get there? It just seemed like everyone else was successful in like 50 million ways. I felt like Eric and I, we've got the same raw materials, we've got desire, we want it, but how do we do it? So once I learned how to actually start creating kind of like this little learning machine, this process where I could then receive information gladly, I knew how to organize it, I had so much more mental capacity to be able to enjoy it. Oh my goodness, life just changed. All right, I hope this is exciting to you. Come to LearnDoBecome.com/radio to see all of our podcasts. You can find the exact link to this episode, and I'll put everything on the show notes page for you. Make sure you're getting our emails as well. There's a little box on the sidebar of our website, LearnDoBecome.com. You can just sign up, and you can find out when we have new episodes or videos or resources for you to add to your list or to incorporate into your learning routines. Also, make sure you come into our Facebook group, because we are providing links. We do some behind the scenes stuff. We have early access to podcasts. It's really fun. It's a party in there. Have an amazing day. We'll see you soon at LearnDoBecome.com.